The movie opens with two friends named Lane and Debbie. They are playing Ouija board in Lane's room. Lane teaches Debbie the game by explaining the rules of the game, and tells her that they can see the spirits through the planchette as the mirror on it acts as an eye. Now they start the game and Debbie gets scared seeing someone through that planchette. But this is Lane's younger sister Sarah and Lane drives her away. Now scene shifts to the present and Debbie has grown up. She was actually remembering her childhood moments, after which she burns that Ouija board in the fireplace. Just then she gets a call from Lane who calls her outside the house. Lane asks her to go with her, to which Debbie says that she doesn't feel like going out tonight. Lane asks her what's wrong, to which Debbie says there's no such thing, she just played that Ouija board game and has been feeling a little weird ever since. Lane tells her it's just a game, and then she asks her to hang out with her. But Debbie asks her to leave. Now after some time when Debbie is having dinner, she feels as if someone is in the house. When she goes to her room, she is surprised to see that Ouija's board on her bed. Then she finds that planchette near her foot, and when she sees through it, some spirit possesses her. She then takes out the decoration lights from her room and hangs herself with them. Now the next morning we see Lane with her boyfriend Trevorrow at a restaurant where they are planning a camping trip. Then their friend Isabel also comes there and works in the same restaurant. Now they are all talking when Lane gets a text from her dad, calling her home immediately. Now when she reaches home, she is shocked to see her family sad. She asks them what happened, to which Sarah tells her that Debbie is dead. Now in the next scene, we see Lane and her friends at Debbie's funeral, and all of them are deeply saddened by her sudden death. Then Debbie's boyfriend Pete also comes there, and he too is very sad about Debbie's death. Lane then walks into Debbie's room where she feels someone's presence there. But then Debbie's mother comes there, and they both hug and console each other. Here Lane finds that planchette, and then they both start talking about Debbie. She then gives her some of Debbie's belongings and tells her to always remember her. Now the next day we see that Lane's dad is going out of the city for a few days for official work. After he leaves, Lane comes with Trevor to check on Debbie's house because Debbie's mother told her to do so. Trevor goes back to check the pool cover and Lane comes inside the house. Now she is watering the plants when she hears some sound from upstairs. When she comes upstairs to check, she sees Debbie's room light flickering, but then it fixes on its own. Just then she hears some sound from the closet where she finds the planchette and the Ouija board. During this, Trevor also comes there and Lane tells him that she and Debbie used to play with it in childhood. Here she starts holding herself responsible for her death, and that she did not even get a chance to say goodbye to her. Now the next day at school she meets Pete and asks him if he noticed anything going on with her before she died, to which he says she seemed worried about something. A few days ago when he went to her house to talk to her, she didn't even want him to come inside. She then meets Trevor and Isabel and tells them that she feels like Debbie is still there in her home. She tells them they can talk to her through the Ouija board. Now at night, they all come to Debbie's house and Lane has also brought Sarah with her. Now Lane goes to Debbie's room to get the board. And here Pete is already in the house. Now all of them sit at the dining table to play games. Lane tells them the rules, like, they are not supposed to play in a graveyard, never play alone, and always say goodbye. Now they start playing and Lane puts a photo of Debbie in front. She then asks if any spirit is present here. And after a while, the planchette moves to yes. Everyone feels that Sarah is moving it, but then the spirit says, "Hi friend." Lane asks her if she was here yesterday. And the planchette moves to yes. Then when planchette moves to D, Lane thinks it's Debbie's spirit. Everyone is shocked to see this, and then she asks Debbie if she would like to tell them why she did this. Then some sound comes from upstairs, but they ignore it considering it as an old house. After this, they say they all miss her and say goodbye. But suddenly the lights go off and they all take their hands off the planchette. Now Sarah feels someone's presence in the house and she also hears some sound, which she starts following. Here everyone else confirms with each other whether they were moving the planchette, to which Pete says it was Lane. Here Sarah and Trevor come to the kitchen where they see the cooking stove on. Lane feels that Debbie has done this, and she wants to tell her something. Here Pete also hears some sounds and when he comes out, he sees a reflection in the mirror, which pushes him. Hearing the sound, they all come to him, and he tells them that someone pushed him from behind. And then they all come out of the house. Now Lane has also brought Debbie's Ouija board with her, and Trevor tries to explain to her that now she has said goodbye to Debbie, she should leave her alone now. Now the next morning Lane's grandma finds the Ouija board in her room and she asks her to get rid of it and never use it again. On the other hand, we see Trevor who is passing under a bridge and only then he feels someone's presence there. When he looks there with a torch, he sees a shopping cart, and then a chalk rolls towards him. Then all of a sudden the shopping cart moves which scares him, and then he sees "Hi Friend" written on the wall. Now at night, Isabel is going back after finishing her shift when she sees "Hi Friend" written on the window of her car, and suddenly a hand appears from inside. She calls Pete and tells him about it, and we see that "Hi Friend" was written on Pete's desk too. Lane, on the other hand, is looking on the internet about the Ouija board when she hears some sounds. She sees that the door of the house is open and then Sarah also comes there. Lane thinks their dad is back but the door closes automatically, and they get terrified and hide inside the closet. Then when Lane comes out, she sees "Hi Friend" written on the laptop. The next day they all discuss this, and Lane thinks Debbie is trying to reach them. Now that night they all try to contact her again. And when Lane asks Debbie if she's here, the chair in front of them slips back. Lane asks her who killed her, but she doesn't answer it. Then Pete asks her where did they go on their first date. But she gives the wrong answer, and Pete understands that this is not Debbie. Now all of them get very scared after hearing this, and that spirit tells her name as DZ. Lane sees the image of a little girl with her mouth sewn shut. The girl warns them to run because her mother is coming. Lane then looks through the planchette, and she sees a woman coming toward them. The board jumps in the air, due to which all of them get terrified and run out of the house. Now the next day Lane plugs Debbie's pen drive in which she finds her video. In this, she tells that she has cleaned the attic today, where she has found an Ouija board. Then Sarah also comes there, and they both see Debbie playing the Ouija board alone. On the other hand, we see Isabel in her bathroom where she is flossing her teeth. But suddenly her mouth gets stitched up, and she gets possessed. She levitates in the air, and falls, causing her death. Now, none of Lane's friends were talking to her because she made them play and Isabel died. She then goes to Pete and tells him that she needs his help. Then both of them come to Debbie's house and Lane goes to her attic. There she finds a box of old photographs that belong to the previous residents. She gives that box to Pete and her torch rolls back. When she goes to pick it up, it suddenly moves, and she sees a girl there. Now while researching the previous family's history, they learn of a little girl named Doris Sander who went missing. They suspected the mother had something to do with her disappearance. They also learn about Doris' sister Paulina in the article. Now the next day Lane goes to the psychiatric hospital to meet Paulina. She tells her about Debbie and asks about Doris. Paulina explains that her mother was a medium and used Doris as a vessel for the dead to speak through. Their mother went mad and sewed Doris' mouth shut, killing her. She then tells her that she played the Ouija board in a graveyard and woke her up, and it is hard to stop. She tells Lane that there is a secret room in the house where Lane must find Doris' hidden body and unstitch her mouth in order for the girl to banish their mother. The friends go back to the Gallardi house, where Lane sees a shadow that suddenly attacks Trevor. It drags him away, and when Pete goes to save him, the door gets shut. Now Lane reaches a secret room, where she finds Doris' corpse, but outside someone attacks Sarah. Now Lane starts cutting Doris' stitches and only then does Mother's spirit appears there and try to stop her. But suddenly Doris screams because of this her mother's ghost disappears. Here Sarah regains consciousness and Trevor and Pete also come out of the room. Now when Pete comes back to his house, he is shocked to see Debbie there. But then she turns into Doris and screams out loud, and possesses Pete. At night, Trevor tells Lane that something has happened to Pete. The next day, she revisits Paulina, and tells her she did everything she said, but why didn't it work? Paulina smiles and says she is free. Lane realizes that Paulina was in allegiance with Doris all along and had intentionally lied. Doris is the evil entity, and her mother was trying to stop the friends from summoning her. Lane's grandmother advises the sisters to destroy Doris' body and the Ouija board. They both leave for Debbie's house and call Trevor. When Trevor arrives, Sarah calls him to the back of the house. When he goes there, the ghost attacks him and kills him by drowning him in the swimming pool. Now Lane and Sarah reach there and start looking for Trevor. Then they see Trevor there, who is actually his ghost. Now both of them come to the basement with the Ouija board and Elaine ignites the furnace. But only then the spirit drags Sarah away from there. Sarah sees Doris's ghost there, and she is about to sew up Sarah's mouth, but Lane plays the Ouija board alone to draw the spirit's attention. Then Doris comes outside to her and holds her hand. She starts possessing Lane, but Debbie's ghost appears there and helps Lane defeat Doris. Meanwhile, Sarah throws Doris's body into the furnace and Lane also throws the board into the furnace, causing Doris's ghost to disappear from there. Now after a few days, Lane finds that the planchette has mysteriously appeared back at her home and the movie ends here.